Yes.
Hey guys, and welcome to the poll. See, I'm happy, I'm having a good time. This is the only comic book show that we do that talks about the weekly comics and all that happened, and this week was pretty good, so we got a lot to talk about. Of course, this week I'm joined by Joel from Cape Joel. This is over there.
Hello.
And then further down over there, I'd reach into Joel's window if I could, but I can't, is Caitlin from That Sea Monster. We got a busy week, so we're going to get right into it, and we're going to talk about comics. And we're going to start off with Detective Comics. I think it was number 954. Does that sound right?
Yes.
It was a number.
It was a number that had a 9 and potentially a 4 in it. Joel!
Yes.
What's going on in Detective Comics?
Well, this was kind of an interesting issue because, by and large, the Bat Family has been losing super hard to the League of Shadows throughout this arc. And really, we don't get to see anyone except for Batman in this entire thing. It's kind of a story split in two. You got Batman having a conversation with Ra's al Ghul about the true history of the League of Shadows. And they also kind of do some interesting kind of like retconning in there about like, wait, so if this is the 10 years... Batman should know about the League of Shadows by now, right? They find a pretty interesting way to explain why Batman doesn't know about them that I appreciated. The other half is a weird change, but one that I kind of enjoyed. We get to hang out with Jacob Kane and the Colony, those, military dudes who modeled themselves out after Batman. Now that the heroes have kind of failed, now that they've kind of bungled it, they're like, well, I guess it's all up to us now, guys. Who's ready for a suicide mission to try and stop these shadows? And you kind of get like a Band of Brothers military piece right in the middle of your Batman comic, and I'm like, all right, I could see this. You know what? I like Jacob. If they wanted to spin him off into like, a war comic type thing, I could see myself following him. But yeah, that was basically it.
So for the next Arkham game, it's going to be like Call of Duty, but with this group.
Ooh, you don't say that too loud. They'll hear you and they'll do that.
No, I don't want that. It's out there now. They're listening. They're listening everywhere.
Wonder Woman has long remained one of DC's icons.
Sorry. There was a pop-up on a previous window I had opened.
Could be far more embarrassing types of pop-ups. At least it was just a Wonder Woman-centric one.
Well, now you guys know what kind of websites I visit, comic book-related sites.
Also, they owe us money because now we're advertising for them. So someone get on that.
Yep. I'll get on that and link it to them.
Perfect. So, is this still your favorite Bat book?
That's a good question. By and large, I'm going to say yes, even though there was actually very little Batman in this one. It was a Batman book where there wasn't much focus on Batman. It was kind of focusing on everyone else, which maybe is why I like it too, because it's showing Gotham is a lot bigger than Batman. There's characters that exist outside him that have major impacts. Now, Caitlin, you said something kind of funny and over on Twitter, and this completely blew me away.
Yeah.
People were actually getting mad at you and trying to correct you about the difference between the League of Shadows and the League of Assassins.
Yes. So in the weekly recap videos that we've been doing over on Benny's channel, Comicstorian, I was writing about the conflict between the Bat Family and the League of Shadows, which has been taken over from Ra's al Ghul. So, or Raz, however the heck you want to pronounce it. I know y'all
tomato.
On that too.
On this show, it's Ra's because I'm here.
Yeah.
Cracking that whip again.
Tip has decreed it is Ra's. So what people were getting pissy about was I was going, and meanwhile, with Batman and the League of Shadows, people were like, it's League of Assassins! Caitlin, you're wrong! It's the League of Assassins! That's what Ra's al Ghul runs! And I was like, no. I'm talking about the League of Shadows, which Ra's does not run. He had it. He had control over it. It was his secret underground organization. And then he had League of Assassins as his surface organization that Batman knew about. Batman did not know about the League of Shadows. Mm-hmm. League of Shadows is real, but Ra's doesn't have control over it anymore. It got taken away from him by Lady Shiva, and now there's this whole problem. And that's essentially what this entire run is about. And how could you not know that? You're going to correct me on it.
But League of Shadows is written on the top of the comic. I'm like, really? People are arguing? It's written on the book.
So many people, and I would not be this butt mad about it if it wasn't a ton of people.
You know what I think it is? I think like that used to be like the Shazam Captain Marvel thing. Like if you wanted to show your big nerd dick, you would whip that out and you'd be like, well, actually, it was Captain Marvel. It's only recently at Shazam.
Not to whip out my big nerd dick, but here's what my big nerd dick has to say. Read your comics. Read your damn comics. You would know about that if you read the comics.
Thanks, Neil.
That's me. That's my impression of myself getting uppity. With you guys correcting me on this bullshit.
But yeah,
So
Detective Comics was all right.
Detective Comics?
If you've been digging the book up until now, I think you'll enjoy it, even though this is a very strange kind of like, kind of breather issue in between the more serious ones.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Joel's still feeling it. He's still feeling it, man. He's feeling the Batman. Detective Comics. Ooh.
Feeling it.
I like that Zoolander that you did right there.
But we're getting away from the Bat family for the time being, and we're going to talk about another pillar of the DCU, that being Wonder Woman. Caitlin, you read Wonder Woman this week. A lot of news surrounding Wonder Woman, so I'm interested to see how things are going for Miss Prince.
With Wonder Lady. Okay, so we're back to the present. I feel like since the last issue was about the timelines being like, and now we're back to present day. I'm hoping that right now we've picked up back to present day and everything's together. Because I feel like we got all of the past. We're in the present now. So essentially, Dr. Cyber, and I keep calling her Hillary Clinton. I know her name's not Hillary Clinton, but the character is designed, looks exactly like her.
Veronica Cale.
I know. Veronica Cale, a.k.a. Hillary Clinton. But Veronica Cale and Dr. Cyber are still trying to return Veronica's daughter's soul to her body, and they're trying to track down the twin brothers, the sons of Ares. Ooh. So yes, so she winds up summoning an unnamed witch who is also from Themyscira.
Who could that be? I wonder.
Me.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. But this witch she looks like a rock star. Her character design in Rebirth is super cool, and she has a sweet underground witch pad in a cave with a giant plasma screen TV and all this memorabilia and a huge library and stalactites, stalagmites. It's great. It's really cool. And
DC
she
Cribs.
gets summoned. What?
I said DC Cribs.
DC Cribs. So she gets summoned by Veronica, and she's like, yo, I want my daughter back. Can you make them give her back to me? And she's like, ooh, yeah, those brothers really suck balls, so I'll help you, just because I really want to mess with them. So she gives her backstage passes to a Bruce Springsteen concert.
Well, it is in the past, isn't it?
I know. They're like, what do you want for this magic spell that's really difficult? And she's like, I would like $1 billion and backstage passes to a Bruce Springsteen concert. And she's like,
in New Jersey, Springsteen never goes out of style.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
So they shake hands on it. It's cool. And they conduct this very elaborate magical ritual for which the witch teleports to wherever Wonder Woman is, solving an international conflict, gets Wonder Woman to tie the lasso of truth around her, and then starts draining Wonder Woman of godly energy to put into this spell to bind the twin brothers. So they wind up binding the brothers into the bodies of two dogs. They get the soul stone that held her daughter's soul. They look inside, and there's nothing in there. Her daughter's not in there, and even worse, the god of war isn't in there anymore. And the god of war has apparently returned to the godly realm, including where Themyscira is, and has taken her daughter with her. And the witch, she's like, all right, my daughter's not in here, so witch, you're going to have to help me go get her. And the witch is like, no, I'm not touching Ares. You really want to release the god of war just to get your daughter back? You want to take him on? And the mom is like, just fucking watch me. Hold my beer.
So it's Xena, right? Like, it's just...
This is Xena.
This is Xena.
Diana, warrior
This is
princess.
Xena with Dr. Cyber.
Okay.
They've done a really good job bringing back and reintegrating all these classic Wonder Woman foes. I say classic, obviously we know who they are, but for a lot of people, they're probably seeing them for the first time. When are they going to do Dr. Psycho? Dr. Psycho is so weird. I want to see them do him and how they would update him for modern times.
I would like to see an updated Dr. Psycho. It is really cool, though, how we're seeing the return of a lot of these, like, you know, Silver Age, and even even I know Batman All-Star threw in a couple Golden Age villains, like really clowny villains, and they're revamping them.
They're gonna call this the hipster age, and all is said and done.
Yeah,
I was a fan of Psycho Pirate before it was cool to be a fan of Psycho Pirate.
I read him in Animal Man, man. Remember Animal Man, Grant Morrison, man?
Yeah.
You know what? My favorites were Gentleman Ghost and Clock King. I knew about them before anybody else did. Remember the Clock King onesie? I do.
So Wonder Woman, it's in the news now. The creative team is going to be changing up on that one. I hear because they can't keep up with the pace, they don't care for it. Which,
yeah,
I said that was going to be a problem, everybody.
Remember oh, yeah.
I said that?
You called it.
Like, creative people have a hard time with that. Like, you can only churn so much out for so long at that speed before you got to be like, okay, creatively, I'm out. I'm done. So, hopefully they get somebody cool in there. And so this, I guess, will wrap up with the same team, question mark?
Till June, I think. They go till June, and then the writer of DC Superhero Girls, whatever, I'm not familiar with her work, she takes over.
Superhero Girls.
Yeah.
That was cute. I have the Harley Quinn doll.
Yeah. Of course you, why am I not surprised? I bet it's adorable.
It's really cute. Like her denim skirt.
So would Joel, because Canadians like denim. Anyway, so, you know, if you're keeping up with Wonder Woman, just keep going. Yeah, I guess we'll see where this goes, because
it was good.
Interesting.
It was a really good ending, and I'm really happy. I can't wait for the next one.
Okay.
Because I want to see her take on, like, Veronica has become kind of a hero.
Oh.
To me. Like, that's how she's been written in this last chapter. She did a lot of horrible things to get her daughter back, but it's almost admirable.
Oh.
Morally complex.
I'd want my dad to go full-blown Taken if I was ever taken.
I would just want Liam Neeson to be my dad. Is that a thing that we can arrange? Can we make that happen? Anybody? Anybody know?
We will use our considerable power of the pull to make this happen.
Yeah, just let me know, because holidays would be awesome.
I can only imagine.
Weird and uncomfortable. Be like, hi, this is Liam Neeson. He's my dad. Now.
you know, I was Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm like, yeah, and Oscar Schindler and lots of other things. Why do you keep harping on the Qui-Gon Jinn thing?
Hey, Liam, come here for a minute. Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about Qui-Gon Jinn ever. That's part of the thing. Okay.
Not at this table.
That didn't happen.
Taken is your life, and then that one movie where you had to fight wolves.
He was also Robert Roy McGregor. Anyway,
that's right, he was, wasn't he?
Okay, so we don't have a lot of Marvel this week, but we do have some Marvel. And one of the Marvels that we got this week is Kingpin #3, which I know Joel's a huge fan of, but didn't get a chance to read it, so I'm about to ruin it for him. So,
please do. I'm going to probably read it as soon as we're done.
Sorry about that, Joel.
That happens.
This book continues to be awesome, and the longer that Ben Torres is working on this, the more it's like a really cool version of what Frank Miller wanted to do. Which I think is kind of neat. He's really found his stride art-wise, but story-wise, that's where this book shines for me, because it's making us question the morals of the Kingpin, how we all perceive morality in general, the fact that while we have someone like Daredevil being like, he's a bad guy, and we're so used to Daredevil being a good guy that it's like, well, obviously he's correct. It's like, is he correct? is this one of those things where in the end, like, we're going to feel like fools for believing in Kingpin because he's very charismatic, and, like, it's becoming this kind of weird, like, he's really taking care of Sarah in a way, and, like, in a way where I'm like, are we getting creepy now? Have we gone too far yet? Because in this, not only does Daredevil break in and, you know, she tells Kingpin about that while she's, of course, beginning her whole, you know, interview process with him and, like, meeting old ladies who he saved the homes of because he used to live upstairs from and that kind of thing. He's also like, I don't care for the fact that Daredevil broke into your apartment and he, like, installs all this security, it's like system or, like, locking mechanisms, essentially.
Overstepping those boundaries.
He is, but at the same time, like, he's right to do so in a way because, like, she's never going to do it herself because she weirdly is, like, aggressive, but doesn't really stand up for herself often, it seems.
Yeah.
Like. And I think that's interesting as a character, and I'm wondering if it's something that attracts Wilson Fisk overall. But we also get a run-in with Tombstone, which is...
Love that guy.
Right? And, like, I loved the art and all of the sequences with her and him. He's threatening her. She's sniffing around places she shouldn't be. He's threatening to kill her, and she somehow turns the whole thing around into an interview with him. Yeah, which I was like, good for you, Sarah. Look at you, like, maneuvering things here. And then, of course, he then is exposed because, like, the tapes that she had somehow... The tapes, by the way, who uses tapes? But they keep throwing that word around like she's using tapes.
How old is the writer? I think that'll give us a clue.
That's a great question, right?
Right? Same with the Bruce Springsteen tickets.
I know.
Hey, at least that story took place in the past.
Yeah.
This one's taking place in modern day.
Now. But they got leaked, so Tombstone is being arrested, and his gang members are after Sarah, so Kingpin is taking care of her. Also, she has a run-in with her husband. You know, the husband who seemingly is on the right side of everything. Like, he's the one who's like, you are bad, you are blah, blah, blah. He definitely, like, backhands her. Like, he gives her a good slap, and you're like, okay, wait a minute. And, like, Kingpin clearly gets the gist of that, so I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen to this guy now.
Yeah.
He did. I tell you, he did.
I think they're setting up, because they've been setting us up to, like, really hate this guy. Because he's just been, like, he's been a huge dick with, like, the custody thing.
He has
Like, the kids were at a sitter because she had to go to work.
Yeah.
And he's, like, picking up the kids, and he's like, how could you leave them with a sitter to go to work? And why don't you pay your bills? And I'm like,
you know what's funny is, like, I like the way they built this character because initially they really introduced Sarah as being, like, someone who has a problem with addiction, someone who probably has struggled for, like, a portion of her life with that and probably wasn't a terribly strong mother. So initially it just seems like a man, like, at his wit's end trying to make this work, and then, like, every time she missteps, he's like, every time I think this is going to be better, you let me down. And then as it turns out, like, the more we learn about him, the more it's just, he is not good either. So it's like...
They both have problems.
Yeah, so I think that's, like, really... By the way, that kid's a narc, man. She says, she, like, curses, and she's like, I'll buy you ice cream, just don't tell your dad I cursed. Immediately, they got the ice cream in hand, they show up at the door, they're like, Mommy said a bad word. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like...
Don't do that, kids.
I like how she straight up is like, I love him, but he is a little shit.
Yeah, because he is. Because he is.
Snitches get stitches, Junior. Remember that.
That's right. By the way, the ending of this book's super tense. Can't wait for the next issue of this. I like this overall because it's making me question morality in the Marvel Universe, just overall, and I think that's a really cool concept to be dealing with. I know we've seen a lot of, like, just in comics in general, like, with Lex Luthor being Superman being on the right side of the law. Same with Doom, you know what I mean? But, like, this is something where it's so nebulous that, like, it's making me, like, uncertain and, like, excited to get to know the Kingpin in this light and then be totally heartbroken when he inevitably turns out to be a bad guy.
Let me ask you this. Do they bring up the fact that Sarah is good friends with an up-and-coming boxer, or do they bring up the fact that she used to work in foreign affairs again?
They bring up the boxer. The boxer plays a big part in this. In fact, the husband accuses her of sleeping with him. He accuses her of sleeping with Kingpin. Like, I get the feeling the husband doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in the bedroom.
He's a little insecure, but they also brought up how she spent time in an international prison for being a Snoopy journalist.
Oh yeah,
okay.
No, she's like,
so
she makes note of that. So yeah,
because Because I think either the boxer or what she was working on before could very well be what Kingpin has been after all this time. Imagine if at the end of this was a highly elaborate scheme to fix a fight or something like that.
Right?
That would be stupid. I'd be so angry.
I would too. I would much prefer that this was a incredibly elaborate scheme to potentially get his good name out there while also getting a new Vanessa.
Yes, that too.
Speaking of the new Vanessa thing, okay, I don't know if I'm reaching a little bit, but I thought that the parallel was kind of interesting. So with her ex-husband kind of violating her by smacking her across the face, I think it's kind of interesting that we see Wilson Fisk kind of violating her in terms of her safety, but in a different way, in in just the entitlement of like just breaking in and installing the security. I don't know if those are intentionally paralleled, but when I saw that, and then I saw her ex smack her across the face after they get into the argument, part of me felt that maybe there was a parallel about her just sort of maybe being drawn to men who are a bit invasive.
Right.
I assume that she needs, which is weird because she's an investigative journalist, that like she takes charge of her life, but I think when she gets home, she doesn't want to make those decisions, and I think she desires a person who will do that for her, but then doesn't like the outcome.
Yeah, I think she's desired to the type of person who is going to be controlling, but some of the physical repercussions of being with a controlling person like that are not like something that she would want.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if she's going to evolve out of it or if she's going to fall into Fisk.
I don't know. I'm
Really?
I think for now they're gonna leave it nebulous to a point, but like she is now in a position where she is going to have to rely on Fisk. So that's interesting. Just book's really cool. There's a lot of subtlety to it. In fact, when he asks her if the husband hurt her, there's this great moment in the panel where the artist made sure to show like Wilson adjusting his pinky ring. Like he's just like, because like I'm just saying, these hands could take care of that for you. And I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah. He could catch these hands, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just, you know, just a little.
And you got to figure too, for Wilson Fisk, grew up in an abusive home himself, saw his own father hit his mother many a times. I'm sure that weighs pretty heavy on him as well.
Exactly. So again, I like this story a lot. I am looking forward to where it is going, and I hope that they don't mess it up. So keep going, guys, and don't screw it up.
So far, it's an easy contender for like my best of the year so far. Like you would really have to drop the ball to not get on that top 10.
Right, and it's kind of nice because it's just one of those like, who would have thought? Like you would think like it's like a Kingpin book. Like, oh, okay, who cares? There's not gonna be much to it. It'll just be Kingpin doing Kingpin things, and it's like, nope. Super like deep, super like what's happening?
Layered.
Like, it's like
really.
It's like 9-layer dip.
So I guess.
What?
I guess. Oh, I was gonna say, Tiff, with pulling the RuPaul writers, good luck.
Yes.
And don't fuck it up.
That's it. That's exactly it. I don't want this to turn into this is a lot of look scenario, or I this concerns me. So
there's a lot of look here, but not a lot of concept.
Exactly. So let's keep going with that. If you haven't been on board for this book, this is only issue 3. It's really easy to go back, pick it up. Trust me, just the charisma of the Kingpin will draw you right in. This is it's like a sponge. But for now, we're gonna move away from Marvel and go back over to DC, where we're gonna talk about the Justice League of America number 4. Joel got to read that one this week.
Yeah, I did. I did read it. I read it before we hopped on here today.
The reaction was just like, yeah.
What's going on with that?
I wish I knew, and that's part of the problem. Like, again, to put in perspective, I just read it before we started, not like 15 minutes before we sat down. I don't know what happened. They defeated Lord Havoc, which was good. They kind of got into like these moral arguments with the extremists. They did that whole, we might be villains, but we're so much closer to you than you know. Your peace and justice by committee doesn't work. We took peace and justice back on Angor. Yeah, and your planet blew up because of it. So shut up.
Shut up, Havoc.
And then, like, they still don't deal with the fact that the Justice League helped with a major regime change. And, like, how is Batman going to keep this secret team secret when this probably should have been huge international news? And then we get the backstory of that shield that Batman used. But apparently it's not the shield from the JSA we knew about. It might very well be a shield that also existed on Angor that belonged to a character called the Blue Jay. And that character might still be alive, and oh my god, my head hurted at the end of that one. Orlando, man, I love you. I don't know what you're doing on this book and that. You started so strong and you lost me so hard.
Yeah, it just that first issue was great, and now it's just, you know.
So weird. Really, the only big story repercussion from it is that, you know, Vixen and Black Canary are starting to get suspicious now of Batman's motives for starting this team. And they're like, I don't think he wanted a secret Justice League. I don't think he wanted to, you know, do justice in a different way. I think he wants us for something else. I mean, Lobo is here. Will Lobo be able to inspire the common man? Didn't think so.
Well, maybe if you want to inspire them to be awesome.
To speak in alien gibberish and 80s biker talk together.
Yeah. I feel like, so you know that scene in Lego Batman when he goes to meet Superman and the whole Justice League is partying without him? Mm-hmm. I feel like Justice League of America takes place right after that scene. He's like, well, fine. If you won't invite me to your parties, I'll just go make new friends. This is his attempt at making friends.
I guess. Using the Extremists were such a weird choice for your first arc bad guys, because it's not just that they're their own evil team with their own powers and their own, like, things going on, but the fact that they're also kind of like Marvel stand-ins, so there's like a Mojo one and a Doctor Doom one and a Wolverine one. Like, I couldn't not get that out of my head. I guess the most interesting fight was the Ray versus Dream Slayer, because they don't actually throw a punch at each other. Ray manages to talk to Dream Slayer and pulls the, you know, we're not so different, you and I thing on him. And in the end, Dream Slayer's like, you're right. I should try and do good. I will leave now for no reason.
And he's the greatest? Okay, well.
I am the greatest.
The Dream Slayer, I'm leaving now. Bye.
He's trapped in a world of typos and crummy plot holes. All right, that sucks.
It kind of does. I still have high hopes for this book because Lord knows it's at least more interesting than the main Justice League book that lost me right away.
Right.
This I'm hoping that, you know, okay, that was a weird first arc. You can do better next time, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel like this one, maybe it's a little bit, you know, like when your kid loses a little league game and it was really embarrassing and you don't really know why they were scoring baskets on the other team's hoop when the coach was yelling at them to stop. But you're going to hope that maybe they learn from this and do better as the season goes on.
It's also a weird missed opportunity where it's like, okay, you're building a new team now, so what do you do for their first mission? Oh, break them up so they can fight the bad guys one-on-one. That doesn't seem like you're the professional writer here, man. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Wouldn't have done that myself. Would have had them fighting side by side so, you know, their powers could complement or not complement each other. They're a new team, you know, got to work through that stuff.
That would have been cool, but I think they're having trouble reconciling Batman wants to have friends versus Batman is naturally a huge jerk. And he's going to take the bad guy on one-on-one and not let anybody get hurt. Because I think they're trying to keep it in continuity with him still being upset over Tim's death and him not wanting anybody else to be in the line of fire. Because he kind of does that whole, like a couple issues back in Justice League America, he sort of does that whole not today thing. He fights him one-on-one in the beginning there. And it's just like... feel like they're doing that, but it doesn't work when you're trying to build a new team.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because in the end, Batman doesn't even take down Havoc himself. It's Vixen who takes Havoc down one-on-one, so they really are pushing her to the forefront. She actually takes him down kind of interesting, because, you know, she paid attention to the fact that Havoc said, ha, this isn't armor, this is my skin. And she's like, oh, that's your skin, huh? Power of the snake. Poison you, poison you, poison you, poison you, until you fall down.
I wish Vixen's actually a pretty cool character that they're reviving, and she does have a really interesting like litany of powers. But I'm still trying, and I actually understand the other characters as well, except Black Canary and Lobo feels so out of place for me. Partly because Black Canary is currently in Green Arrow, and she's in the Birds of Prey right now.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's one of those things like, how do you split your time between all of these things?
How are you going to schedule that? And then Lobo just feels out of place here.
Like he's the wild card.
Just give Lobo his own, like he was hilarious on Suicide Squad, but that type of environment I feel like complements Lobo a bit more. And the Little Black Book was great if you like Lobo, because they were just trying to make it a Lobo book. But in Justice League America, I feel like, I know he's the wild card, but I just give him his own book already.
He's their Hulk. He's the, okay, go punch this now.
Yeah, but just give him his own book.
Maybe Dinah has a time turner.
Oh, there's a story right there.
She's like, no, I gotta be on all these teams. No time for that. Turn. Now I've got all the time I needed.
I know I mentioned it before, but I cannot wait till Green Arrow eventually finds out that she's been on the Justice League of America and that they didn't invite him to any Justice League. Where he'd be like, but I was around. Yeah, but Batman said I needed to keep him honest, though. But Batman says I keep him on.
That's what Batman told me.
Literally told him in the cartoon in the first episode where he joins, like, you'll keep us honest, Ollie. Okay.
Oops.
So here's what I think is interesting about the whole, like, I love the concept of a Justice League whatever book. I love the idea behind it, them all teaming up, having to deal with these like massive problems, maybe having a team of lesser known individuals, putting them together to face other things. Cool, right? It's always strange to me when you see the start of something new like this, whether it be New 52 or Rebirth or whatever, that these are heroes we don't necessarily know the tone of yet, and yet they have to put them in a team together. They have to do this, even if you don't 100% know where they're going. If the writers who are running their books haven't fully developed new quirks to their personality, like where they're going necessarily. So I think that might be what we're struggling with some of these right now, is that it's like the big focus is on the individual character books, because it's like that's what's carrying this whole thing right now. We're getting to know them again. We're getting to experience this as a whole. New readers are coming in, the whole thing, right? And then we have these team books where they're just like, well, you can't do too much because we got to take nods from what's ever happening in the main character books, which are happening all simultaneously. So good luck. And that's not me saying don't do Justice League books. It's like, wait a little bit though.
Yeah.
Like, don't make that one of your first out of the gate. Like, if a new Justice League book had kind of developed now, I feel like they'd have a better idea what to do with it. But I know there's, like, some huge grand, like, plan they have going on there, so, you can't stop that, but I don't know.
The Justice League books, you can tell that, they're trying to play it into the overarching plot. Because there are those little elements and Easter eggs of like, oh, there's somebody outside the time stream messing everything up, by the way. Yeah. But it's, at the same time, the stories aren't strong enough, I don't think, to hold the reader's attention. And then on top of that, the reveals in Justice League aren't big enough that you couldn't just read Superman or Action Comics and not get the same thing.
Well said.
All right, so Justice League of America, Joel still holds out hope in a weird way. Like, he's just like, nah, man, it's gonna get better. You'll see.
You'll all see. This time next month, I'll be back and like, hey, it's good.
Okay.
Like, it's not bad. It's just confusing is the I would call it more confusing than anything.
All right, there you go.
Some would say that that's not great.
Yeah.
To be confused the whole time.
Fair.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that, but we'll keep having Joel read that for us and let us know when the awesomeness happens, and then we can all jump on board and have a great time. But until that time happens, let's talk about something else, which would be new Superman. We haven't had this character on here at all. So, Caitlin, what's been going on with new Superman?
So, since we haven't talked about new Superman too much, I'm going to give a tiny little preface for our listener watchers.
Do it.
And Okay, so New Superman is essentially about the effort in China to create their own Justice League. So Justice League is almost viewed as an American-owned entity, just about. And in order to compete, China wants to create their own Justice League that can put them on par with the states. At least that's kind of a little bit the idea. We don't fully know the intent of this shadowy sub-government organization that seems to be trying to create a new Justice League. And we don't fully know what their intent is. We do know that at some point they've started accepting help from LexCorp to create the new Superman. And it's really cool. Keenan Kong, it's actually a really good comic. And they even poke fun at so there's this Chinese speedster that sort of joins up with them. She's not part of the government sanctioned Justice League. She's actually somebody that was part of the White Triads, which are sort of a gang of villains in New Superman, and she eventually joined Keenan to help him and Superman. They team up in this issue, which is really cool, to stop a huge theft. So, but Keenan Kong is really awesome. His origin story is really cool. He was kind of a punk, smack-talking, sort of bratty, big bully kind of kid.
Total opposite of Clark.
Total opposite of Clark in just about every way. And then one day his mortal enemy winds up getting cornered by a villain, and Keenan stands up to the villain. Oh. And yeah, and actually tries to save him. And he's like, you can't do anything to me. I'm a punk kid. I'll fuck you up. And the villain's like, yeah, no, you have no powers. So he almost dies, but he gets taken in and chosen as the new Superman. And he's given through this technology, which is part Lex technology, as part super soldier-esque process, Superman's powers. But he accesses them in a different way, because he doesn't access them through a different atmosphere. He actually accesses different powers through his chi. And he's learning to access all of these different powers.
How very Asian.
It's interesting. It's a good translation. The author is, I believe, Chinese American, and there's a lot of national cultural nuances that are put in there that make it cool. People speak in Mandarin throughout the comic. They differentiate between Mandarin and English, which I thought was a nice touch. And in this issue, what happens is Keenan has been tempted by Lex to open up the doors of hell in order to get
literally or figuratively?
Like quite literally hell. So Lex is like, open these doors and you'll get powers. And Keenan is like, I don't know about that, Lex. These doors seem really foreboding. And Lex is like, nah, man, go ahead. It'll be cool, I promise.
Is he back to being evil again after the fusion?
I think he's back to, he's still obsessed with having Superman's powers, and he's still obsessed with taking shortcuts in order to get these powers. So, like, and, you know, his trainer, Keenan's trainer, who's training him to use his chi and to also learn martial arts on top of everything else so that he can be independent apart from his powers, is like, don't do it. That's taking the easy way out. And that way, literally, in this case, literally leads right into hell. And Keenan is like, it's worth a try. And he opens the doors of hell. Initially, he gets a huge rush of powers, but it dies out because demons start flooding through. And these demons actually steal people's energy and their chi and their powers.
Well, ain't that ironic?
I know. Whoops. So Lex runs into hell. Keenan's teacher follows him. Meanwhile, Superman shows up and is like, so I heard there's a demon outbreak in China. Oh, hey, Keenan. And Keenan is like, oh, Superman, hi, remember me? We teamed up that one time. It was really cool. And he was like, yes, great to see you, buddy. You want to fight these demons? And Keenan is like, okay.
Aw, and they have a buddy adventure.
And they have a little buddy adventure beating up the demons. Meanwhile, Lex, he tricked Keenan into opening hell because where Keenan's powers are, and I thought this was really interesting because it pulls in a supernatural element to Superman's powers, which Superman does not have. Mm-hmm. There's a magical element to Keenan's powers.
Which means he could kick Superman's butt!
Yeah,
because Superman can't handle his magic. He can't hold it, man.
Yeah, no. Kenan has access to magics, which is pretty sweet.
Which, by the way, why didn't Constantine show up?
No, he was busy filming Justice League Dark at the time.
Well, that really paid off for him.
Did it ever?
So basically, Lex has gone into this Chinese hell, and he's gone in there because Kenan's magic, because he's denying himself access to his chi, and because he's trying to take shortcuts and get these instant fixes, his magic is actually stored there and has manifested as this kind of shadowy corpse with Superman's original uniform on it.
Briefs and all?
Briefs and all.
Ooh.
Yep, I know. It's kind of cool. And Kenan's teacher is in there, and Lex is like, yes, I've been looking for you. You need to come with me, manifestation of all of these powers. And you need to and you need to empower me. Come into my body. And it starts dissolving, and Lex starts freaking out, and Kenan's teacher is like, sorry buddy, that is a magical manifestation of Kenan Kong's superpowers, because he's in fact magical. So the minute Superman inspired Kenan to do things the hard way and to manifest his chi into his own superpowers, which they were doing outside hell just a couple minutes ago, is when the skeletons started dissolving. Sorry buddy. Lex has a mini temper tantrum. The two of them escape hell. Lex tries to sort of repair things with Kenan. It's like, sorry, I tricked you in order to steal your magic, buddy. But I promise it was for a good cause. It's because I want to be Superman.
and is oneself not the best cause?
And Kenan is like, and no. Get out of my life. And then Kenan and Superman have a bonding moment. And they part ways. It's really cute.
Aww.
Nice.
Yeah, new Superman's really good. There's a whole subplot going on with new Batman and Wonder Woman, which is also really good. And how new Batman becomes Batman is also awesome. They have the Bat Academy of China that teaches people how to be Batman.
It also kills your parents and scars you for life. And
they're thorough there, but you also get a butler.
Yeah,
which is pretty. You get a robot butler named Alfred.
Can I just say, thank God Disney doesn't have access to Batman, because they'd make the Batman experience, and it's like, okay, no. Listen, Imagineers, you gotta pull it back, okay? We can't have what you're proposing here. No, it'll be great. We'll make holograms of kids' parents, and then they'll watch them get shot in an alley, and then they could become Batman.
Just walk down this alley.
Okay, wait, quick story. They did that, Disney did that, but they did it with their safari ride.
Oh.
So back in ye olden days, the safari ride had it followed the story of a little baby elephant. And the little baby elephant was really happy, and he loved everything, and he had two parents. And then as the ride goes on, you see the baby elephant's parents get shot and harvested by poachers.
Classic Disney.
And at the very end of the ride, the baby elephant gets shot.
Oh, Disney's raw as shit, aren't they?
They got rid of the ride because it was too traumatic.
Well, and now they get rid of all their movies.
I know. They basically Batman that baby elephant before it got shot.
And that elephant was fighting crime in a costume, adopting a bunch of other animals to wear other costumes.
He never forgot what happened in that. We're just gonna go now. I'm sorry. I really didn't want to say that, and yet I did.
You were compelled to. Sometimes you just gotta let the evil out.
It came to me, and then I was like, I'm not. And I'm like, no.
An elephant that never forgets to fight crime.
Yeah.
You know what, Joel?
Nah.
Shut up.
Too much, a step too far.
Shut your Canadian mouth.
So
a different show.
So new Superman. We've never talked about him on this show. Where do people jump on? Is it here? Do they gotta go back?
So here's kind of the end, but we're not too far along with new Superman. Mm-hmm. So this sort of wraps up kind of this first arc and leads into the next one. So I would honestly start at the beginning, just because his origin story is pretty cool. And then you also get along the way the origins of the Bat Academy. And also Batman's new Batman's arch nemesis, the alpaca.
Really?
The alpaca's actually really terrifying. It's this chick who wears an alpaca skull on her head. And she's like drawn over the mouth with lipstick. So it's kind of Joker-esque, but it's still pretty independent. And she does things like hack into China's computer systems and like, you know, fuck up censorship laws and do things like that.
Is that like a cultural thing, or like alpacas terrifying in Chinese culture and I just don't know?
I don't know. I mean, clowns aren't necessarily terrifying in our culture unless you saw the movie It at a young age.
That's true.
Clowns are always terrifying. Let's just put that out there. And by the way, it just sounds like they're just pulling it out of the air. They're like, man, you know what's cool? Alpaca. I see them all over the place. They're all cute and stuff. Let's make it not cute.
Yeah, I like that.
I got a farm of alpaca right up the road from me.
They're adorable.
They are adorable. The only scary thing there is the llama because they'll spit on you.
Yeah.
Protective of those alpaca. I'll just tell you that right now.
The llama's like, don't you touch my alpacas.
Yeah, they use them to herd them, so they have like a bunch of them, and you go up to the fence, and all of a sudden you see the llama's like...
Really? I did not know that.
They get closer to it, they're like, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm looking at the alpaca.
Move along.
No, you're not.
Move along.
Mm-mm.
It's like that really protective friend at a bar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like guys like, hey, no,
What?
No.
I'm not calling that friend the cock blocker now. I'm calling her the llama.
Yeah, the llama.
So what you're saying is we should bring more llamas to bars, is what you're saying.
Llamas should always come to bars.
Hey everyone, it's llamas night.
Joel.
Yeah. Joel, I try and be nice, but I'm tired. You're on my last nerve.
Joel, I'm gonna have to ask you to just face the corner for a second.
Okay.
Turn around, Joel.
Yay! All right, and while Joel's in the corner, we're gonna talk about Action Comics number 977. We all read this one. I'll run you through it really quickly because there's not much to talk about. Not that it wasn't a good issue, but guys, if you have not been reading Superman and if for some reason you had like either a brain aneurysm or a stroke of amnesia, this is the issue for you because we're going to go over what makes Superman Superman in this issue. We're going to get an entire recap of the history, which is kind of helpful in a way because it lets you know what they think is canon right now. It reminds Superman of everything that's happening and makes sure that we all know where things are going. We get to see, you know, what happens to Krypton. We get to see this pair, as we mentioned, Supergirl, which is funny because I know he crossed over into her book this week as well. We see the Kents. We get to see their whole like how they, you know, made up that they had Superman in the first place, which by the way, I thought that was cute. I liked that instead of like having it be an adoption thing. It's just that they like acted like, you know, Ma got pregnant somehow.
It's a nice touch.
And they hid
And
it.
they just hit it. I like that so much more because first of all, in rural Kansas, you could totally get away with that. You could totally be like,
right?
I really just didn't want anybody to know I was pregnant until we brought this baby to fruition. It's a religious thing. I mean, that's just how I feel. Like
exactly. And here's the thing, like Pa deals with animals all the time. He could have delivered the baby.
Yeah, I guess so. Why not?
It's just it works. There's probably not a lot of difference between delivering a calf and a human.
Sure.
Don't tell me I'm wrong about this, Chad. I already know.
You know what else I really appreciate?
Barnyard. He's feeding her a carrot.
He's like, Ma, just lay on this hay. It's cool. I'm just gonna pet your mane.
Lie on your side. We're gonna holster your leg up in the barn lever.
I want a divorce.
She's just like.
Yeah, exactly. That's
because that's how birthing works, right?
To be fair, that's probably how. Yeah, no. We also see Metallo.
Yes, who's back to being evil now.
Right, there he was in pieces, and like the Matrix showed up and talked to him.
It was the Matrix, wasn't it?
It was like a Latin Matrix showed up. It was just like, yeah, I got this.
I think that's supposed to be the Eradicator, maybe, or whatever's left over of him. I could be wrong. I think so. If I had to put money on it.
I think Joel's wrong.
It might be Zod too, because I know he's supposed to be the one getting this team together, and that's going to be
all right.
Well, if you know, share it with the class, Caitlin.
I'm not saying I know. I'm just saying I disagree.
Just saying I think you're wrong, as I always do.
I just think you're wrong, and
I just assumed it was Keanu Reeves being like, "Hey, remember The Matrix? That was cool." Whoa.
Since we're in the era of Member,
right? Yeah, apparently with tapes and Bruce Springsteen and
Bruce Springsteen, Member.
Exactly.
I remember.
So, and then we get, was it? How would you pronounce it? Is it Blanc? Is it Blank? However you want to pronounce it.
Blanche.
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 Blanc.
Blanche. Blanche, like the American pronunciation of the Pokemon team leader. Blanche.
Right. Exactly. Like
Blanche.
Like the Golden Girl.
Yeah, Blanche.
He just wants to have sex with everyone. He's unstoppable. His lust is unquenchable.
And he's terrifying because he's albino and he has psychic powers.
I know, it's
That's
just
why
sad.
he said, I need your creativity.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Different type of art.
But overall, like, I think it's interesting because, like, initially I was like, is this lazy? And then it's just like, I'm like, no, I get it. You're just trying to establish with us that what is in continuity is in continuity. Like, this is the history that we're going with. This is where the Superman is coming from. Just as a reminder. So, I don't know. I think it was fine. I think they're just kind of giving a break before we amp up again, which I think is good because, as we've seen with some of the scheduling, it can be draining on the creative team. So to do something like this where it's just like, hey, let's just do something that's just kind of relaxed and chill. So, you know, I thought it was fun. What'd you guys think?
Can I say I teared up a little bit in the flashback where we get to see Superman see the death of his world through new eyes now as a father and wonder to himself, could I send my own son John away? I got a little teary at that.
It's really sad. The biggest thing, though, that I guess kind of one of the bigger differences that I feel like I noticed, although I know there were a lot of little Easter eggs and a lot of little retcon tweaks here and there, I feel like one of the bigger overall changes was the personality of Krypton. So Krypton was kind of, I feel like before they had sort of imagined Krypton in previous eras as kind of a little bit of a colder, removed, high science society. But the way that I kind of saw it with all of with the color, with, like, you know, people just sort of walking around about their day-to-day life, the passion of Superman's father, you know, because a lot of times the way that we see that final scene and those final scenes where he's like, I'm trying to tell them the planet's going to blow up, but nobody will listen to me, it's almost kind of analytical and a little bit removed. Like, okay, I've got to remove myself, and this is how I'm going to have to deal with that tragedy because I have to get my son out of here. So I've got to keep it together. You see a lot of that version, I feel like. But in this, you had a lot more passion, you had a lot more color, and you had a really cool array of people running around Krypton. And it seemed like it was a little bit more warm than previous incarnations of Krypton. I don't know if I'm reaching a little bit, but that's one of the bigger things I noticed.
I see it.
I agree. I'm sorry, I'm over here typing the rest of the Golden Girls theme.
We started it, so now we have to finish it. Those are the laws of the internet.
I'm not going to pretend like that's not what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Like Caitlin, you're nice and all, but I would just
guys,
rather type out the Golden Girls theme.
Once it's in there, man, it's just, you can't get it out.
You cannot.
It's over.
Another little canon tweak, Lex is back to being from Smallville now. I don't know if he was before. I didn't read a lot of New 52 Superman, but that's one of the things. Either he's from the Suicide Slums or he's from Smallville.
Yeah, it goes back and forth, I've noticed. But they've made it definitive. In Rebirth, he's from Smallville.
Cool.
And I like that.
There you go.
Because I like the TV show. There, I said it.
That's basically what they're doing.
Love Smallville, okay?
And also saying that the first time Superman used his powers was to save Lana from, like, a hurricane or something. So there you go. You got the first definitive use of his powers as well.
Yeah.
Also, now that I'm back and we're done actually doing all of the Golden Girls theme, I'd like to say I agree with, so I like the changes to, I like some of the changes to Krypton. I like that they explained away the question that Ethan always has. He's just like, why didn't you just make another ship? Every single time. He's like, you made the one, and then he's like, well, to be fair, it would cost a lot of money, and then he explains it away, but I like them as, like, addressing that. They're like, no, they just don't do space travel here.
Yeah, they said they're not a spacefaring race.
Which is, like, really weird.
It is, because what about Daxam? What about all these other places that we know to be Kryptonian settlements and stuff?
The thing is, I think what they were trying to say is that space travel is restricted. So it's probably restricted to, even though they have probably enough for commercial space travel and colonization, they probably restrict the resources to people who are specifically in need of it. Right. So what I got from it was that Superman's father creating the star drive, he created it as sort of a prototype for an evacuation model.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely could see that. It was a bizarre statement to make as the reason why they were doing that. I was like, all right, like, you addressed it, cool, but you could have said anything else.
I guess Joe Sixpack can't have a spaceship, but, you know, someone in the High Science Command can build one if he wants.
Yeah, it's not... When you said need, immediately I was like, oh, you mean money. Whoever has the money.
You mean the money. Yeah,
all them Krypton dollars.
Dem Krypton dollars. Somebody asked, are you sure Kryptonians aren't isolationists? They have colonies on other planets.
They do. Daxam. Yeah, that's what that is.
And they do in Rebirth, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's mentioned in Supergirl, so.
They're just, you know, they're just what they are, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, money.
It is what it is.
Apparently it's all about money, which is so, like, not what I always think of, like, the Kryptonian civilization to be, because, like, to me, they're all like, nah, see, it's all good, we're like the Federation, we don't even care about money anymore, we're all just having a good time and enjoying things, and we've become lazy, and we don't think anything bad will happen, then, oh no, the worst thing ever happened.
Yeah, I also thought that the Kryptonians evolved beyond the need for currency, but apparently not. Like didn't even Jor-El say, those council members with, with their pretension and their greed and everything. I'm like, are they taking kickbacks, the Kryptonian council?
I think they were taking kickbacks. It sounded like kickback. I was like, that sounds like a corrupt capitalist center government.
Yeah.
Right there. Or, I mean, to be honest, most forms of government have a little bit of corruption in there.
They're not so different than us, these Kryptonians.
Don't
we are essentially the same.
To which then I'm like, oh no, well now you've ripped away everything that's special about them. Now that I know Krypton is really just like Earth, only with funnier outfits.
To be fair, we're catching up.
We kind of are.
I'm making sure that happens.
We'll have unirobes and we'll have cool headpieces. We'll have the whole thing.
I want a unirobe and a cool headpiece.
How else will you know it's the future if we don't all have one outfit?
My head's too big for a headpiece, everybody. Let's just put that out there, all right? That's fine. It's fine.
I feel your pain. It's why I can't wear hats.
Guys, we'll just all be with your headpieces and I'll be like, it's too small. It keeps falling off. I'll just wear a box on my head. It's fine. I'll write on it future headpiece. There. Okay.
See, I have the opposite problem. My head is too big, which is why I can't wear hoods or hats.
I'm going to make you a tiara that says future headpiece on it.
Bam.
Make you wear it.
Done. Tiara. So I think we'd all agree that if you have not been reading Superman, this was a safe bet to pick up because it literally just gives you a whole bunch of backstory. It does explain ever so slightly what has been going on up until this point. So if you want to continue on and you want to like jump into Superman or Action Comics now, I would go for it here. Like this is fine. Like this is a good place. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We are all in agreement. So now we're going to go back over to Marvel. And Joel's going to talk to us about Weapon X #1.
Yeah. So you have a lot of choices in X-Men books right now. Marvel, of course, is having a big rollout of a bunch of different titles.
They're having an X-Men extravaganza.
An explosion, if you would.
Oh my god!
Yep. Hey, she started. I had to finish it.
I did. I opened the door. I'm sorry.
It's different when Tiff does it, though.
Don't start a pun fight you can't finish.
I'm not starting a pun fight. It just happens sometimes. Puns just happen.
But yeah.
Joel does them with malicious intent.
He does.
They're not pun reflexes. They are mean puns.
Then he tells me to shut up one too many times, and I'm just sitting here cooking up puns to ruin the show.
Yeah, we're like, what are you doing?
Why are you taking it out on us, Joel?
I'm sorry. I've gone to the dark side. I can't help it anymore.
But yes, your hatred and resentment for Shut Up Joel is bleeding onto our side now.
But yeah, like I said, lots of X-Men books out right now. Lots of choices, and Weapon X, definitely one of those choices. I'll tell you that right now.
That's the end of his review. That was it.
It basically could be, because here's the thing. Stop me if you've heard this story before. Wolverine is, pimping on through the forest, doing Wolverine stuff. Then he gets attacked by 2 robots who have adamantium claws like his. He automatically jumps to the conclusion, well, guess Weapon X is back. Because this always happens. I can name at least 5 stories where this has happened, and I'm sure people who are more into Wolverine and X-Men than I am can name at least 20 stories that start exactly like this one.
Yep, classic start.
Yeah, it's pretty much dovetailing from where X-Men Prime left off. There's a new, mysterious, seemingly immortal woman who's running Weapon X. She's getting the band back together of, some of their biggest agents, so Domino and Deadpool and Wolverine and everyone else. Does not want to, reprogram them and put them back into the field. She instead seems to want their DNA to create these robot mutant hybrids, which, again, is kind of like a Jason Aaron story that was also called Weapon X, where they were also creating things like that. And because Wolverine...
Remember Jason Aaron? Remember?
I do remember. I like that story. The X-Men were living in San Francisco then. Remember that? Remember that short?
I remember.
That was fun. So, yeah, Old Man Logan, who is almost as over this and as tired of this as I'm sure a lot of readers will be, was like, oh, God, it's one of these again, huh? Well, better meet this one off at the curb. If they came after me, they will almost certainly be after Sabretooth, too. So I should go find Sabretooth and we can talk about the plot. It's funny because
Sabretooth talk?
They do, and it's funny because Sabretooth has been in such this interesting place of discontinuity where ever since Axis he was a good guy, then he joined the more anti-hero Uncanny X-Men where it's like, well, I do bad things for a greater good. And when he finds him again, I'm like, okay, Victor, are you a good guy or a bad guy now? Well, you've got your bad guy hair on, which is extra long, instead of your good guy hair, which was short, so I guess you're bad again. Only for them to have a conversation about how they always seem to have conversations like this, and then they get attacked by robots, and that's the end of the issue. It's not bad, but it's wholly predictable.
Oh. Well, so pick it up, don't pick it up?
If you want something warm and familiar, I guess you can go with this. Then again, that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from all these X-Men books, where it's like, well, we wanted you to get back to basics, but we didn't want you to be derivative of things you've done before.
Nice. Just before we move off of X-Men, I just finished X-Men Blue. So now I've read Blue and Gold, guys. I did it. Okay, I did it. I don't read X-Men books, but I read those. X-Men Blue is way better than X-Men Gold.
Well, that's good.
Let me just tell you that right now. I kind of enjoyed that. They were fun. They had a good time. They had charisma. They had a dynamic. They fought Tom Cassidy and the Juggernaut.
Oh, nice. They're back together. Again, going back to old stuff we remember.
Right? The Juggernaut is mad at the X-Men because they're like, especially Cyclops, he's like, you killed my brother. And Cyclops is like, I'm not that guy, man. I haven't been, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Cyclops should have said, man, that was 3 years ago, man. You're just getting angry at me now.
And I'm like, I'm like, from the past. That doesn't work like that. I don't know if you know that. That's not how it works.
Didn't X-Men Gold kind of have that thing?
Yeah.
Have that thing in it?
Yeah. And even regardless of that thing that was in it, the story wasn't very good. It wasn't very compelling. This one, X-Men Blue, was fun. They went on an adventure and they did X-Men things and it was just enjoyable. And then it turns out that it's like, yes, Marvel Girl is leading this team, but there is another force behind it. It's Magneto.
That's interesting, because I wondered what book he ended up in, because he was leading his own book. He had a solo book for a bit, but he was in no solicitations for any of the teams.
Yes. Yeah, no, he is in charge of X-Men Blue essentially, and he's trying to bring about Charles' dream.
And also in doing that, they get to go back to the era where Magneto was living in the house and where he was mentoring the young students. So once again, you remember these, right? You liked it when this happened, right?
It's kind of cool because it is a way to, like, weirdly reboot the X-Men while it's still all being, like, a continuity thing, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh no, we plucked them out of time, so it's totally cool. You can still have everything else or whatever, yes or no. But now they're young again, and, like, Beast isn't blue, and you know what I mean? Like, it was just fun. It was just what I feel like the X-Men should be. Yes, of course, I expect drama and all that, you know, melodrama and, like, soap opera style thing going on at some point, but, like, I enjoyed this much more than X-Men Gold.
That's good.
So much more. It's just, God. And in the backup, there was, Wendigo was in it.
Yay, I like Wendigos.
Right? Wait, just in general? Like, you just like the mythical creature Wendigos?
Well, both
They're
the
really
mythical creature and the comic character as well, because he's tied to a lot of good Hulk and Wolverine stories. And usually, and here's another thing, usually when they gotta fight the Wendigo, it means they gotta come to Canada to do it, so that means the X-Men take a field trip to where I'm from, so I get to read stories about my place, which is always nice.
Does anybody remember, speaking of Wendigo, the creepypasta series that was titled My Time as a Park Ranger, and he talks about the time he met a Wendigo?
No.
It's really good. It was a really scary story. Like, he's sitting by the campfire and he just sees this thing with, like, huge, like, fuzzy deer antlers and a really long face and a humanoid kind of gangly silhouette come hulking out of a river. And it just sits next to them on the fire and it makes direct eye contact with them for a really long time. And the other ranger who knows what it is, like, sitting there like, don't break eye contact. Don't break eye contact. And the other ranger accidentally breaks eye contact and then shit goes down. It's really scary. It's really good.
That sounds way better than the B horror movie called Wendigo, which was just not good.
Oh, that's
that was way better.
That was not good.
Or the many B horror movies they've done on the Jersey Devil. I don't think they've ever made a really great Jersey Devil movie, which is a shame because there's great lore there.
I know, but they just don't know what to do with it. It's fine. That's okay. I get it. Whatever.
Myths are hard.
Myths is tough. Okay, so we talked about X-Men. We talked about all kinds of X-Men. So let's get away from the X-Men for a little bit and talk instead about the Birds of Prey. Again, another book I have not seen on this show yet. Caitlin, what's up?
Just plugging in my computer.
Okay, I'm gonna do this
like a professional.
Small golf claps.
Thank you. Very well prepared for everything that comes my way. So the Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. So we have the team up between Batgirl, Huntress, and Canary. Nightwing is actually teaming up with them for this story arc. So someone has been not killing, but turning metahumans human and stealing their powers. So Black Canary goes undercover to find out who is, doing that, who's taking the tires off the people. So she goes to a fight ring that is run by Roulette for metahuman cage fighting. Black Canary goes underneath the moniker Nightingale, but she still looks exactly like Black Canary. Same exact clothes, the jacket with the giant canary on it, on the back. Like, I'm just kind of like, how... Like, if this is a cesspool of scum and villainy run by a villain you've tangled with before, how does nobody recognize you? But anyway, I mean, that aside, she winds up catching the attention of the person who has been training metahumans and then stealing their powers. So she goes under her tutelage, and she's like, all right, let's see what this lady is about. At first, she's like, oh, this lady is trying to start an army. She's training all of these metahumans in her basement so that she can create a metahuman army and take over New York or something. But it turns out that's not the case. She winds up training up somebody who became her very good friend, and she's like snooping around, and then she sees the lady teacher who has a bird name. I can't remember it. Knocked Out? Nope, that's a Pokemon.
Yes, the great kung fu master Knockdowl that we all know and love.
I'm calling her Knockdowl from now on.
There you go.
Knockdowl steals her powers. No, it's not Magpie. It's
That's another Batman villain.
It's maybe a Blackbird or something. Anyway, so she takes her powers and she's like, yes, my goth wardrobe is even better, and now it's complemented with fire powers. Pew pew pew.
Solid.
And she takes the other students' mind wipe powers, and then she mind wipes Canary. Now Canary has no memories, and she's like, yes, excellent. Now what you will do for me before I take your powers is you will kill your friends. So, yeah. Batgirl and Huntress figure out where she is. Nightwing's like, can I come too? I'm not really doing anything. Like,
I'm
okay.
not, like, doing a whole lot, so, like, maybe I could just go with you.
He's doing a lot in his book now.
I know. I just kind of like, his book makes it seem like he's really busy. But in Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, he's just hanging out. He's just like, let's hang out with my ex-girlfriend and her friends. I don't have anything going on. My girlfriend may or may not be pregnant or whatever, but I don't really care.
You caught me in between fighting a bunch of Grant Morrison resurrections.
Yeah, you caught me. Yeah, you caught me in between a filler and Silver Age villain fight. So
Fair
doing much.
enough.
So anyway, that's about it.
So how do you feel about Birds of Prey just in general? That was something I kind of was interested in, and then like I just never picked it up.
Birds of Prey has sort of been lukewarm for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the first arc that they went through, where they kind of get a new Oracle, who is a young hacker named Gus, who like has some kind of issues. Like they just completely let that go for a while, and I'm like, when are we going to get back to that? That seemed really interesting.
Right.
So the first arc, we have a mysterious hacker who pretends he's Oracle and starts catfishing people as Oracle. And then, Canary and Batgirl pull a Max and Neve and go hunt them down to confront them about catfishing under her identity. And they find him, and he's like, yeah, I really like you guys, and I've actually been helping you with all this crime stuff, so could I be part of the team?
That was such a disappointing twist, because we were all theorizing, oh, what if it was James Gordon Jr. back to destroy his sister's credibility under the guise of Oracle, because he never had a super name.
It could have been really cool, but instead they were like, well, we still need Oracle around. So now Gus is Oracle. And apparently, like, there was this brief part where, like, Gus kind of had a tantrum and he really lost his temper and he kind of got really intense, and then he takes medicine and he calms down, and they were like, ooh, this means he could be a villain. And I was like, what? It sounds like he's just medicating for an issue he has that's not that weird. We can signify that he's a villain in a better way, and then the next issue he's talking to like some unknown person, and he's like, yes, I have tabs on Barbara Gordon. Da-na-na.
Well, aren't half of Batman's foes just guys and women off their meds?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's fair. But this one was more overt. This one was more like, this is a pretty regular person who's lived their life as a pretty regular, intelligent person who just takes medicine. But for some reason, that's bad. And I'm like, why does... It would just be much better if he just never took his medicine and was just off the chain. Like Joker. Joker never took any medicine. He's just off the chain. The medicine's not the culprit here. It's the bad people.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He's still a lunatic. So, all right.
They shoved the rest of that down a plot hole somewhere, and we never went back to it. Now we're doing this. It's mediocre.
Okay, so maybe not if you had like a lot of money and you're looking to throw it around, maybe go pick that up. But otherwise, if you're not super into it, I wouldn't. I guess I don't think we're recommending this, right? No.
I mean, if you have to read it for work, I would read it.
Yeah,
Which
if you're in
is
that
a very
situation,
small group of people.
then that's for you.
Pretty much the people in this room, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should read it because we do this. You don't have to read it, Tiff.
I did read the first arc, and I'm like, this is all right. I don't have to keep reading it, though.
Say I read it, and I don't actually read it. Before we go on, I noticed
That's a
everyone
lot
was
of people too.
yelling about Jimmy. I'm sorry I didn't mention him. It's not even sure if it's him, but it probably is him. The person fighting Wendigo is a adamantium clawed individual who everyone thinks is Jimmy Hudson, son of Wolverine, but Marvel has not outright said it is, but he has like light hair, so it's either
Jimmy.
Yeah, it's either that or the light-haired Logan has returned. You know,
we know it's not his Japanese son.
Yeah, it's not
no,
Daken.
it's not Daken. It's never Daken. Nobody wants Daken.
Did we need another Wolverine person? I know I mentioned this in the weekly poll a couple weeks ago. Do we really need another one? Old Man Logan's already in too many books now. They really should have put X-23, Laura, All New Wolverine on a couple of these teams.
It's so annoying because they're like, Logan is the only thing that's doing well right now. Let's put him in everything. And I'm like, nah.
You made this mistake before with Wolverine. That's why Old Man Logan was as fun as he was. Because it took Wolverine and just made him into one book that you could read, and it was really good, and now he's getting overexposed again.
Well, the more Wolverine characters we have, the less value there is on adamantium. It just keeps driving the stock down, guys. So if you have adamantium stock, I'm telling you, sell now. Sell, sell, sell. This is going down the tubes right now with every Wolverine individual we put out there.
I wish in post we could edit like the little like stock bar going over, the info bar going under, and maybe like some horns.
Exactly, right?
It's Tiff's Mad Money.
Gotta get out of here. Ding ding.
Mad Comics with Tiff.
That's right.
Adamantium stock is down.
We're losing it. Buy Uru.
Vibranium very high.
Uru.
But what about Nth? I've got all my stocks in Nth metal. What do I do with it?
What we're looking at right now is there is a huge popularity in calling things person, thanks to Rick and Morty. There's this person flooding the market.
Buy Szechuan sauce.
Yes,
so,
please.
High demand, low supply.
That is correct. So,
go to your vintage stores.
Go back in time. So for my indie pick of the week, guys, Rose. Yeah,
indie pick of the week.
She really does need a jingle.
Graphic. Here it comes. I read, among other things, Rose #1, written by Barry Finch, with art by Iguara, which I just love the name of. This is a story that was written literally for me because it's about a fantasy world where there's magic and there's special warriors who have companionship with these big cats called Cats, Khat. And it's about this girl. Yeah, hey, Image. Thanks for writing a book right up my alley.
Does this girl have brown hair and glasses? Because I know when I passed this comic on the shelf this week, I'm like, that's a Tiff book is what that is.
She has like reddish hair but no glasses. Because it's a fantasy comic, so there's no glasses in there. But yeah, man, if we could figure out how to make Zoe the cat here really big, I'd be like all over that, except then she'd maul me. Overall, I really like this book. I like the world they're setting up. Just a lot of like fun lore. Kind of cool villain. It's this chick who has like dad issues, and like is like destroying magic and has like a bigger plan for the universe as a whole. Art is super pretty and super fun. Again, for me, right up my alley because of the fact that it's magic and cats and chicks and warriors and just, yeah, I just really like everything that's going on in this book. I'm just all about it. It's just all about cats right now, about Rose. Oh, here's what's funny, is inevitably, we all know she's going to get a cat because the front of that like book just totally like gave that away, right? But her name is Rose, and the cat's name is going to be Thorn, and I'm like feeling. Aww. Good for you. Yay. Yeah. And there's going to be
this book is pertinent to my interests.
It is exactly you have my interest completely and my money. Take it and make more and like tell me how I can become part of this. Yeah, no, I like it. It just like sold me like sheerly on the art and just the world that they're crafting. Just a lot of love has gone into this. And hopefully it'll keep going and like just keep up the pace, just in general. So it was a lot of fun. Oh, and by the way, before we go, we're gonna have a really quick special guest review of a book.
Aww.
Right?
Oh. All right.
Right? I'm gonna excuse myself for a second, and I'm gonna have a special review of Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows.
Always tagging in.
Hey!
Oh, I read regular Spider-Man this week. I really should have read Renew
What
Your
up,
Vows
everybody?
first. Hey, Sal. What's
Oh my
up?
God, it's the Sal.
Yeah. What up, everybody? Hey. Yeah, so
Sure.
Spider-Man Renew Your Vows came out. Buy this book. I can't express that enough, because it's better than amazing. And
Yeah, it is.
so go get it. Like, tell them, because every month I've actually been tracking the progress of this book, and every month it undersells like
Oh.
it sells about 10,000 fewer copies than the month before it. So
Oh.
you've got to fix that by going out and buying it again, because the series is fun. If you buy no other issue of Renew Your Vows, get this one, because the X-Men are back. It's like they take all the characters that are not getting overexposed. Like, there's no Cap, there's no Hulk, there's no Thor, there's no MCU characters. It's just Spider-Man and the X-Men in this one issue that just came out this week. And
Because they're all dead, right? Regent killed them all in the Secret Wars thing.
I don't know if they're dead or if I think they implied that, like, the Secret Wars of Renew Your Vows and this Renew Your Vows are very different in that he just, like, knocked them out.
Right.
So they're not dead, but they are not on the table. We haven't seen the
Right.
Avengers, but we haven't heard about them either. Like, he keeps, like, referring to the fact that, like, they're not dead or something. I don't know. But the fact is, because the X-Men are the first ones to go in the Renew Your Vows Secret Wars universe. So in this one we got everybody, and it's like a cracked mirror reality version of the X-Men. So, like, oh man, it's Wolverine and his yellow and blue duds, and oh dude, it's Blue, and it's Blue Beast and he's furry. But Jean and Wolverine are married and have a kid.
Interesting.
And Scott works for the X-Men, but he hates Professor X because of what Professor X has been doing. It's pretty cool, and it also kind of lays the groundwork for where this universe came from by establishing, like, okay, so Civil War might have happened, or the idea was that Civil War was prevented thanks to Professor X being like, nope.
No.
It's just gonna put a stop to this. Gonna put the foot
Yeah,
down.
and I'm like, yup, that's what they would have done. That's weird. Like, it's funny. It's just reminding you that, like, things are not things are not what they seem, but they are still familiar and fun. So
I like knowing that at least in one universe, Wolverine is happy.
yeah, Wolverine is thrilled. Like, he's really ungrizzled. He's just kind of like, what up? Like, he is not a dick or hater. It's really fun.
I'm nice.
Yeah.
He's your buddy Wolverine.
It's really cool. I would check it out. So definitely, if you don't need context, just read the context page and pick it up because it's great.
Right on.
But yeah,
I
Spider-Man Renew Your Vows.
I made the horrible decision of reading Amazing before I read that this week. What the fuck was that?
Yeah,
in Amazing this week?
I didn't even bother. I dropped Amazing before the $10 issue.
It was I would love to tell, like, Norman Osborn summons a Metal Gear at one point.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of that, and I saw the internet was like, yay! I see things I like. Give me more of the things I like, and please charge me out the ass for them.
That too.
Yeah. Nope.
It's just unbelievable.
I think in the weekly recap, I'm just gonna let your opinion be known, Sal.
Thank you.
You'll do Renew Your Vow. I mean, not Renew Your Vows.
Amazing
Wait,
Spider-Man.
yeah, you'll do Renew Your Vows, but you won't do Amazing Spider-Man.
No,
and you'll let everyone know that you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I can't.
It's
just
too much.
It's just garbage.
These
and
last
it's too
couple of
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
$10 garbage. You'd rather buy 2 Frappuccinos and spill them on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well. At least then you see where your money went. Right? Between the cracks there.
These last two Amazings make me feel like such a goober, too, because I defended Dan Slott for so long. Well, give him a chance. After this, he'll course correct. After this, he'll course correct. And after the last 2 issues, I'm like, well, but Norman's in it. This will be cool. No, it's not.
Yeah, like, everybody needs to stop buying this.
They are doing away with his company, though, and they have officially made Spider-Man an enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he's going with Silver Sable to take out Norman's weapons factory in Eastern Europe. And so Nick Fury Jr. is like, Parker Industries is now officially an enemy of the United States government and S.H.I.E.L.D. Go get him, boys. Yeah. That means you, Bobby, who's been working with him. Can you take him down? Yeah.
Great.
Because I'm good at my job.
Mockingbird is so great. What a rich, amazing character, and so worth being in this title.
And having prime real estate in the title too, even since issue 1.
Yeah,
she was a big part of this run.
Like, didn't she have a standalone that got thrown in the trash or something?
Constantly. Mockingbird always has a book that gets canceled. But anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Always a pleasure.
Goodbye, Bitter Betty.
Yeah, bye.
Goodbye. Oh, now they made the tag back.
I got Gushers and a cat.
Oh, man.
You. I can't put my headphones on, and wait, no, I can. I can do this.
You can do it. You can do
it. See, this is why I like that book.
This is the best show ever.
I
Gushers, cat.
Kitty cat.
So that's it, guys. That's all the books that we read this week.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Alright, you're happy. Off you go. But now I'm eating my Gushers, because I also got this.
Like, I fucking hate this.
I woke her up just to, because I was like, I want
to. No wonder it looked so irritated.
Yeah, she's not
everything that comes with being a cat parent.
Mm-hmm. You got to do that. Okay. So, we got to hear a little bit about Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. I was excited that Sal got to talk about that. Yeah. I really remember Gushers being better. Anyway,
remember Gushers?
They're a lot greasier than I remember as a kid. That's what gets me about
it. Yeah, the greasy. I'm like, why is there grease on this
fruit snack?
Candy. Yeah, it's kind of always expected it to be the texture of gummies and not gelatinous grease.
Our childhood memories lied to us. Every day you forget the grease that is on your childhood memories.
Every day you forget the grease.
No, it's true. It's very true. All right, guys. So we covered a whole lot this week. We covered a lot of DC. We covered some Marvel. But next week's a whole new week filled with comics, which we will read and then tell you all about them. But before we head off and do all the stuff that we do after the show that you don't get to see, because
you guys do stuff after the show?
Shh. Have this.
Secret.
Come on, let's pretend. How about you guys tell me what you guys got coming out this week? What we got to look forward to and where to find you. Let's start with Caitlin today.
Hello. You guys can find me over at That Sea Monster, spelled with a C. I have been doing these speed summaries of various comic book arcs, and I've actually got Thor Ragnarok coming out this weekend, and a couple of streams, and a few sort of alt-fashioned goth unboxing videos. So if you guys like shopping vicariously through somebody else who has a spending problem, please hit up those videos, but mostly show up for the Thor Ragnarok video. It's gonna be good. And I actually managed to get that one down to like 2 minutes.
Impressive.
So, I know, I got Death Note in like 5.
I saw that.
Really proud of myself. I was like, did not breathe the entire video.
All right, so I'm out of Gushers, and Joel, what do you got?
Well, if you head on over to the Cape Joel channel, you can see reviews of a bunch of different comics, including some of the ones we talked about this week, including some we didn't. You can listen to the 52nd episode of the Comic Multiverse. That's the show I did with Matt. We tried doing that one live. It was a bit of a buffery shit show, but you can listen to the good, clean audio version of it. We did take fan questions, so there's that. And also, if you head on over to my SoundCloud, I got a weird tabletop gaming hair up my ass this week, so I decided, hey, you know what? I should do a little something with Dungeons & Dragons. So I did a thing, and some people seem to like it, and maybe I'll keep doing it.
I wonder where you got that idea from, Joel.
I was very much inspired by the stuff you guys did with the bard. I really wanted to do that.
I was going to say you were inspired by the game I ran for you.
part? Oh, it was a wonderful game. You gave me the bug. I'm addicted now.
Saying, and I did just take a bite out of my Gushers pack because my Gushers gone. Over on Comic Pop, if you haven't head over there yet, you're going to be able to find a back issues where I talked about Monsters Unleashed, the event that nobody read except for me and like 5 other people, and I really liked it, and I told Sal and Ben about it. I can't remember who was there. I know Sal was there, though. I had a good time talking to them about it. Sal, you'll get to see Sal doing an amazing hair flip that has already become a GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it. It's spectacular. It's majestic. It really is. I love it. Ooh, done. It's awesome. Also, you can check out the Elseworlds Exchange that Sal did with Jason Inman, where they talked about comic books that ended too soon, I believe. Just that
never have concluded.
That never concluded. There we go. He's in the room and he can tell me all about it. It's awesome. So you can check that out. We're also going to have a letters page. I don't know what's happened on that one, but it's cool because the population's awesome. Awesome. Anyway, that's the end of the show. If you guys wouldn't mind, I would suggest you guys come back on Tuesday where the weekly poll will happen and they'll talk about comic book news, pop culture stuff, and it's going to be awesome. And then come back on Thursday where we'll talk more about comics, and I'll probably feel better because I won't have had to deal with Razor's Edge. It sucks and it's not as cool as advertised.
Freaking Razor's Edge, man.
Just...
What a lie.
By the way, you should have seen me trying to look it up. I'm like, oh, I'll just look it up before I go and try to help them. R-A-Z-O-R-S? Nope. Oh, it's the lame... Oh.
Wow,
fair enough.
It's the thing that sucks.
Cool.
Is there such a thing as an anti-ad? I think all our talk of Razor's Edge this week constitutes as an anti-ad.
I think they're gonna.
This show is not brought to you by Razor's Edge
because they suck. They're gonna call me up and be like, "Could you not? Could you not do that?" I'm like, "Nah." Alan Scott Gushers. They should theme those because they'd be little lanterns and they'd be filled with. Where is that fruit snack?
Oh,
The
yeah, for every
different
lantern.
I want lantern gushers. They'd be called Green Lantern cores.
Yeah.
The goo in the side would be the core that would be really good.
Yeah.
And eat Yellow Lantern one.
Oh,
and
and you could have the white. You could even just have the white one still, and it would still be awesome.
Oh, it'd be so good.
That's a really good
idea. The white
idea.
ones would be that weird vanilla flavor gummy.
Yeah.
So the white would be
DC. Get on
Please
that.
Give me Alan Scott Gushers.
Yeah.
Right
It's
now.
fine. I just want that.
I want my Green Lantern core Gushers.
Yeah, make it happen.
Nice.
Come on.
Give me Hal Jordan's Green Gushers.
I can see his face on the cover of the box right now.
Yeah. Remember
He's
me?
really into it.
No. Nobody remembers you, Alan Scott. I'm sorry. We try to. This is when we close out our shows, which we're doing at this moment. So everyone, have a great weekend. Read your comics. Come back and hang out with it. What?
Wait, we got like 3 subscribers or like 4.
Oh, really?
So we should do a collective splooge for them.
Sure thing.
We gotta think of the thing on the poll. What's the thing on
We
the poll?
really do. Because we just don't want to co-op Rob's thing.
Here's the thing, guys. People in the chat right now, if you're a part of the Discord, try to figure that out. Figure out what we're gonna do over here.
Yeah, what should we do for people who subscribe to the poll?
Come up with some options, and then we'll look at them. We'll check it out. But for now, we will do.
Should there be roof raising involved?
No,
what do
we're
we
not-
do?
We're not raising the roof.
We're not roof raising.
No one's raising the roof,
Not
Joel.
happening.
Doing this thing, the fist pump I do sometimes. I'm trying to get it over, but it's not
I
working.
think that Joel is trapped in a time bubble in which it is constantly the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I think that time bubble is called Canada.
It's a self-imposed time bubble where we're always 20 years behind the times on everything.
Where
That's
tracksuits and chain wallets are still cool.
That's why Joel is wearing chav tracksuits.
Yeah. People are saying
somebody
gush.
said gush. Yeah. Let's do gush. That's a good one. Should we do our first gush, guys?
Oh, we got a gush.
Yeah, we got a gush.
Do we have the names?
So there's one up here. Wait, let me give the names. Okay. Getting artsy with a lobster.
Oh,
Gush.
There's a name.
Gush. Good gush.
You can really hang on the
Gotta hang on to the
Yeah.
See, I like that we all stress a different part of it.
Yeah. This is gonna
and the other 2 of you guys, I'm sorry, I can't find you.
We can't scroll that high. We can't scroll
that high.
You know
But
who you are.
Yeah, there's the first one. And here comes the second one. Gush.
Nice,
Yeah.
we've created a thing.
We're going to try that. We'll see how that goes.
Yes.
If we remember it next week, then it'll stick.
Are we gushing? Somebody said not feeling it. I guess they'll let us know in the comments below if you like gush.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not for us to say. It's for the fan base to say. Really, we'll workshop it.
Yeah.
If you have an alternate saying that you would like for subscribers, please leave it in the comments below, and we will try it out until something sticks.
Yeah. We're willing to try. We're willing to figure it out. We'll see. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for this show. We talked about it all. We had guests, we had cats, we had gushers. We're done. It's over. We can't go anywhere.
Strong show.
It's only going to go down from here. So, that's going to be the end of it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to come back, join the Discord, follow all of us. Just do it all. Just go and do it. It'll be awesome. And we will
just do it.
Just go do it! So you make me mad and we'll come find you. We're not gonna find you. But I might. You never know. You never know when I'm lurking in the darkness waiting to get you. But we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, read your comics, hang out with us, and we'll see you then.
It's a good time.